see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body.
After months of speculation in the MotoGP paddock, Toprak Razgatlioglu officially underwent his first test of Yamaha's V4 engine today at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. This moment also marked Yamaha's new step into the next-generation engine era, which is scheduled to be the basis for their bike for the 2026 season. Toprak, known for his wild instincts and extreme braking technique, immediately became the center of attention from the start of the test session this morning. Yamaha brought the latest V4 prototype with a number of aerodynamic updates and an electronic configuration that is claimed to be very different from the previous generation M1. In the first few laps, Toprak was seen gradually adapting, evaluating the engine's character, which offers a much more explosive power delivery than the inline-4 that has traditionally been Yamaha's trademark. However, the 2021 Superbike World Champion's aggressive style seemed to suit the more powerful character of the V4. In some areas, Toprak even appeared more stable under hard braking and quicker out of corners. Yamaha's technical team gave several positive signals from the pit wall, indicating that the incoming data was working as expected. It wasn't just the Yamaha team. A number of other riders were also taking notice. Some were even surprised by how quickly Toprak adapted to a completely new bike. Several engineers said his time in the third run was already approaching a competitive level, a sign that Yamaha's V4 project was starting to find the right direction. And here's the full news. The day MotoGP fans have been waiting for has finally arrived. Toprak Razgatlioglu officially took part in the first test of the Yamaha V4 engine prototype at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. After months of speculation and mystery, Yamaha finally unveiled the new generation of motorcycles, which are expected to form a strong foundation for the 2026 MotoGP season. This momentum clearly marks a significant step in Yamaha's journey, having been known for decades as a manufacturer with an inline-4 engine philosophy, but now daring to take a new direction to return to the forefront. Since morning, the Yamaha paddock felt more crowded than usual. Mechanics worked quickly, ensuring every sensor, aerodynamic device, and electronic component was perfectly installed. The black motorcycle with its simple livery drew curiosity, especially because the shape of its fairing and aero belly looked very different from the previous generation M1. When Toprak emerged from the garage in full gear, journalists immediately surrounded him, capturing this historic moment. The atmosphere seemed to signal the beginning of a new era, and Toprak was the first rider entrusted with writing its first chapter. When the V4 bike started up, the sound from the exhaust immediately filled the pit lane. It no longer had the high-pitched character of the M1, but was deeper, heavier and more aggressive, a distinctive V4 sound that was completely new to Yamaha. Some of the veteran mechanics were even seen nodding and smiling, as if feeling that this was the modern step they had been waiting for. Toprak emerged from the garage and began his warm-up laps calmly. In the early laps, he seemed focused on learning the bike's character, adapting the much more explosive throttle response to his riding style. But as is often the case, adaptation wasn't a major issue for him. Within just a few laps, he was already demonstrating his trademark extreme braking style. Hard braking into the first corner immediately caught the attention of many standing on the sidelines. The bike seemed stable under heavy braking, and he was able to confidently take the V4 into the apex, despite the engine's characteristics being so different from the bikes he had ridden before. As the laps progressed, Toprak's speed increased dramatically. In the second run, he appeared to be playing even more aggressively, pushing the bike to perform at a higher level. The smooth sliding into corners, the hard acceleration out of corners, and the precise wheelie control all proved that it didn't take him long to grasp the rhythm of the new bike. Several other riders in private practice were even seen turning their heads as Toprak passed by at high speed in Sector 3. Word spread that by the third run, his time was already within a very promising margin for the first day of testing a new bike. From the pit wall, the Yamaha technical team seemed to be giving positive signals every time Toprak passed. Data from the telemetry screens clearly showed the bike's performance improving from lap to lap. The engineers even noted that Toprak's riding style was unlocking the bike's potential in previously unexplored areas. He was able to push the engine to work under extreme braking pressure and acceleration, something that was very useful for the long-term development process. One technician even remarked that Toprak made the bike come to life in a different way than other riders who had tested the early prototypes. The Yamaha racing boss, who was seen briefly stepping out of the data room, made a brief but meaningful comment. He stated that this test was a crucial moment to ensure Yamaha's return to being a major force in MotoGP. The boss acknowledged that Toprak's presence had a significant impact on development, particularly because his aggressive riding style could quickly reveal the bike's weaknesses. He even described Toprak as a rider with unique instincts that can elevate the bike's performance faster than expected. Meanwhile, Toprak himself appeared satisfied after completing several long stints. In a brief interview, he described the character of the Yamaha V4 bike as very different, but very promising. He acknowledged that there was still much to learn, particularly the control of spin in long corners, and the more aggressive throttle response compared to the inline-4. However, his face clearly showed satisfaction. There was a kind of unconcealed happiness when he said the bike had great potential if developed properly. The reaction from the paddock was also quite positive. Several other manufacturers were reportedly watching Yamaha's development closely. Yamaha's V4 was considered their boldest move in the last 2 decades. With Toprak's quick adaptation, many began to believe that Yamaha was truly ready to challenge Ducati's dominance in the sport. Today's test marked the beginning of a major evaluation series for Yamaha. All eyes are now on whether the V4 can bring them back to competing at the top. But one thing is clear: Toprak's performance in Valencia today gives great hope that Yamaha is on the right track. In the hands of a rider with such strong natural instincts, this V4 prototype shows greater potential than many expected. As the official post-season test at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia approaches, all eyes are once again on Toprak Razgatlioglu, the eccentric rider who is now at the center of Yamaha's major revolution, heading into MotoGP 2026. Next year, Yamaha will enter a new era with V4 engines, a major step after years of sticking with inline-4s. However, ahead of this major transition, a stern warning has emerged from one of MotoGP's icons, Andrea Dovizioso. Dovizioso, one of the most experienced riders in modern racing history, and a former V4 motorcycle specialist, issued a sharp warning that immediately shocked the paddock. According to Dovi, Yamaha can experiment with engine design, aerodynamics, and even electronics for the 2026 project. But one thing that must be maintained is Toprak Razgatlioglu's natural instincts. Toprak is no ordinary rider. He thrives on instinct. He thrives on aggressive braking, improvisation, and a courage that not all riders possess. If Yamaha forces him to rigidly adapt to the V4's characteristics and eliminate his natural instincts, they will kill his own strength, Dovizioso stated firmly. According to Dovi, Toprak's riding style is an anomaly that actually makes him dangerous to his opponents. Toprak is known as the king of late braking, a rider who dares to extend the braking limit until the most tense moment. He dances with the rear tire sliding, manipulating the bike in a way that only a handful of riders in the world can do. However, that's where the problems begin. Now Toprak will enter MotoGP with a completely new Yamaha project, a 2026 V4 bike, whose characteristics tend to differ from their classic inline-4 bikes. V4 bikes are typically more stable, more precise, relying more on racing lines and electronic management than wild improvisation. And for Dovizioso, therein lies the threat. Controlling a V4 requires discipline and precision. But that doesn't mean Toprak has to sacrifice his racing DNA. If he loses his instincts, his signature way of handling the bike, then the advantage that made him a superbike world champion could disappear, he continued. On Yamaha's side, the pressure is mounting. The 2026 V4 engine project is being called the most radical step in the company's history since the modern MotoGP era. The bike is expected to bring changes to power delivery, top speed, acceleration, and even chassis flexibility. Yamaha insiders even revealed that the Valencia test will be a crucial opportunity to read Toprak's initial style, gather data for the V4 engine and chassis, adapt the bike's character to Toprak's extreme braking style, see if Toprak's adaptations can provide development direction. In the paddock, many analysts believe that Yamaha is not building the 2026 bike for the general market, but rather to maximize Toprak as the centerpiece of the project. This decision is considered a big gamble, because if Toprak doesn't fit in or loses his rhythm,